welcome to episode 18 of Conversations with Keasha. My name is Keasha Lee. I am the host of the show. I am really thrilled for you all to be able to be a part of this experience today. Like every conversation, to be honest, I really do love being able to offer the opportunity to let you all take part in these conversations with folks around the world, really, who are my friends in real life, who are friends that I've met online, and we get together to talk about and share insights around a variety of topics regarding life and business. So today's guest, I'm super excited to have Elaine Swan. She is a nationally recognized lifestyle and etiquette expert. And today's topic is something I think that everyone can relate to, which is all about how to deal with difficult people, y'all. Yes, if you've ever had an encounter with a difficult person, somebody who has made you feel defeated or frustrated after interacting with them, this could be a difficult person, difficult people, a problematic social situation. Whew, it's always good to have some tools in your pocket that you can utilize to support you in navigating these situations that are bound to happen at some point in life. So we're going to wait for just a little bit to let my wonderful guest come on in, Miss Elaine Swan. So hi, Susan. Hi, Zaya. Let me just go ahead and see where Miss Elaine is and invite her. And then she'll be on, and then we can chat. Oh, another point to make. Always at any point during the conversation, ask questions, because we may talk about something and you're like, oh, you know, I love to get, both of us, me and my guests, love to see that you all are engaged and have questions or comments, or if you want to say, hey, I love that point, or I can totally relate, love it. So please do not shy away from doing that. All right, Miss Elaine. Let's let her on in. How are y'all today?
Hey.
Hello.
Let me get everything set up. It's so funny with this because my thing is I want to make sure that, okay, good. Am I framed up well enough? Hey.
Hey. Yes, you are. I see you're in your office space. Yes. Okay, y'all. This is Elaine Swan. I'm so happy to have you as a guest. We've known each other for the past several
indeed.
years, I would say. Probably since
I think so.
2018, I would say. I was pretty new to California when we met. But I always give my guests an opportunity to introduce yourself in a few sentences of your own choosing, of who you are, what you do, why it matters.
Do I go now? All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Elaine Swan. I am a lifestyle and etiquette expert and founder of the Swan School of Protocol, which is an etiquette training institute. And I know you're probably thinking, etiquette, what? My grandmama taught me how to eat, you know, but I tell you, and I say this to folks often, etiquette has so much more to do with our everyday lives than how we use our knife and fork at the table, which is important, but there's so many other aspects of it. And so here at the Swan School of Protocol, it matters, the work that we do matters, because we really do our best to try to help people level up to become the very best version of themselves, whether they are children, teens, college students, and adults. In addition to that, we offer a wonderful Train the Trainer program, which allows us to train other individuals in the area of etiquette so they too can launch a Swan School of Protocol in their city and offer etiquette consulting services to other people from the comfort of their own home, should they choose to do so. So I love the work that I do. I am also an author of a book we're going to be talking about today, which is Let Crazy Be Crazy.
Let crazy be crazy,
and
y'all.
This book, some of the things that I share, I really help people do their best to deal with difficult people and challenging situations. And now is the time of year where we really need to help folks as far as that's concerned. So thank you, Lady Keasha, for having me here today. I'm so excited about this conversation.
Yes, it is so. Likewise. Likewise. Thank you for being on. It is very timely. This time of year, I think both with being around family and people who we typically don't spend a lot of time with, and so it can bring up
you can be triggered
and really challenge. Which can really challenge us. And I feel like also with it being the end of the year, there might be additional thoughts or pressures or whatever tends to come up around this time of year, whether people are thinking about, you know, how has the year gone? Has it gone the way? Have I accomplished the things I really wanted? And then looking into the next year. So I feel like there's like different factors that can contribute to folks being more high strung. And
absolutely, you know, and I know we're going to kind of get into our subject, but I really want to address something that you said just now in the hopes that I can encourage someone. This is my 4-year seasonal anniversary. Is it 3 years or 4 year? I need to look and see, to where I am not currently deep into seasonal depression. For me personally, Thanksgiving is my most favorite holiday because, of course, I love to entertain, I love to cook, I love the whole presentation of it, and I love family. But the minute Thanksgiving finished, I would go into a deep depression. And I did not realize what it was. It took some time, and I suffered from this for many years, most of my life, my adult life. And you know, therapy helps, and prayer helps, and so forth. And so what I was doing to myself, Keasha, is I clearly am a high achiever. And so I was only able to see the things that I did not accomplish during the year. I set so many goals for myself, and all I could see is what I didn't do, what didn't happen. And I focused so much on that as opposed to looking at things from the other way. So there's a lot that goes along with all of this, and I'm kind of giving a Cliff Notes version of my journey. But I would get so depressed and I would get so sad. And you know how every year there's a new saying, it's 1995, keep it live, 2005, da-da-da-da. It's 7 years, it's the year of da-da-da, year of completion, all this stuff like this. And so I would be sitting around just bawling and crying. So as everybody was really excited about the new year and hooping and hollering and so on and so forth, I felt none of that. It would be a very, very dark, depressing time for me. And so through prayer, through, you know, therapy, and really seeking the Lord and so forth, I really have been able to come out of that. And so this is, I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty good. So my heart to those who are challenged right now, and I didn't realize it was a seasonal thing, because I thought depression, what? I'm pretty good. But no, that's what was happening. I would be so sad and so dark, and it would just be horrific. It was very dark for me.
Thank you for sharing that, because that's one of the things that it is real. Depression is a real thing. It can affect us at different times of the year due to different scenarios happening in our lives. But I'm so thankful that you did mention that. And that's one of the factors that can contribute to things being a bit, you know, and more intense, especially when you're around people who may be saying things that aren't the best. Or
you're not married yet, or you having kids, or you having another one, or didn't you lose your job this year? Whatever, you know.
Whatever, right? Elevation, the brand, has said that they can relate, and also giving to others can shift
giving to others,
So, giving to others,
I know Elevation, the brand.
So,
thank you for joining, Lady Elevation.
Okay, so the Elevation, the brand, and everyone that, like, people come in, oil money, and Susan was on, Mahan Siri, and okay, whoever else is here, thank you for joining us. Miss Elaine, would you like to share maybe the first point for how to deal with
Oh my goodness. So
grace?
Here's the challenge that we tend to have, as we kind of mentioned around this time of year. We're connecting with family members or even friends that we haven't seen it throughout the year, or we only see them occasionally. And there is this expectation that is put on us, most especially as women, you know, whether it's marriage or our weight or our accomplishments, or, you know, bearing children or stop bearing children, or whatever it is. And so typically, or in some instances, you may have a friend or family member that you're gathering with that would say to you, ask you a question or make a statement that that has to do with whatever they feel is a deficit that you're experiencing. And so my recommendation to handle this type of questioning with in a very graceful manner is to do so in one of two ways. Number one, you can just change a stupid question into a new conversation. And that's one of the things that I talk about in my book. Just shift and change it. Change the subject. The person says, oh my gosh, it looks like you put on a little weight. And you can say, well, you know what, I have. I'm enjoying these curves for now, but how are you doing? I heard that you went on vacation this year, or I heard that you got a new job, or whatever it is, or that your grandson just had some accomplishment or whatever. Just shift and change that stupid question into a new conversation. I mean, we see politicians do this all the time, but it's a really great technique. And the reason why is because people do actually enjoy talking about themselves, especially the ones who kind of have those questions for you. You know these individuals, and so you know already who's going to kind of have those questions. You know about their life and their lifestyle. So do a little research in advance so that you can say, okay, this is my little treasure trove of pivots that I'm going to use when so-and-so comes my way. The second thing you can do is call them to the carpet. Some people, they may want to just, you know, lock their pit bull, you know, jaws, if you will, into that question and want to try to keep you there. But call them to the carpet and embrace this awkward moment and say, you know what? That's not something I'd like to talk about right now. Let's change the subject. Call them to the carpet and let them know that you're not going to engage. You might feel as though it's a little bit off. It can be a little bit off-putting, but sometimes people need that. And what you say, instead of saying to that person, don't ask me that question, you put it on yourself and say, that's not something I feel comfortable talking about. Let's change the subject and call it what it is.
I love that. And I put O instead of I, but yeah, that's not something that I want to talk about. And it, particularly for people who tend to be the ones who like to get under your skin or who do rub you the wrong way. I feel like a lot of times these may be people who are not used to having their being challenged or having folks be okay with them overstepping boundaries. And so that's why it will take a more firm stance on our part.
Not today.
I'm not going there.
Not today. Yeah, and the thing about it that it'll be a little awkward in that particular instance. They might say, "Oh, okay, well, all right then," but you just keep it going and keep it moving and say that and keep it going. But they're going to know that this is not something that you want to talk about. So a lot of times we're always thinking about, how do I put this person in their place, and how do I tell them this and they're doing this wrong? People who misbehave and treat people badly, typically you're not going to be able to change their mind or their mindset or their attitude or their approach in that particular instance. That's not going to happen. So what you have to do is put the boundaries around what you're going to say. And so that's why you take it on yourself and you say, I don't feel comfortable. That's not something I want to talk about. I don't want to really go down that road, but how are you doing? Or whatever it is.
Yes. So thank you. These are great. So Elevation Brand says, own your power to choose, which we always have that. And Susan says it gives them an opportunity to access some self-awareness. she said they might not take it though, but you know, at least you're letting
It's
them
not,
know
yeah, you have to own that space that you're in. And we do this because, you know, we see all the time, you know, we teach people how to treat them, but sometimes people think etiquette, how to treat us. We teach people how to treat us. Sometimes people believe that etiquette is the concept of shrinking back and not speaking your piece and being very demure and not ruffling feathers. But no, I say that you can say just about anything to anyone. Of course, it depends on what you say and, of course, how you say it. And it is perfectly fine for you to tell someone, I'm not comfortable with that. Just do it with a smile and keep it stepping.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So those are two great points. And these can be used for family members, in working environments and in social environments. Can you give an example of some things that you know, an example of something that would be specific to like a social environment?
Okay, so let me I got to trace control the stuff right here. So social environment, let's say, for example, and this is where you can use different folks, right? Let's say, for example, you're at some sort of social occasion and someone is really just unruly, right? An individual who's really unruly, they're out of step and they're disturbing your peace. When people, as I said, misbehave, a lot of times you're not going to be able to correct them in that particular instance, most especially if it's someone that you do not know. So my recommendation that I write about in my book, Let Crazy Be Crazy, is to use authority figures to be able to get your point across or to get that person in line. So you use the authority figure who's present. If you are at, you know, a baseball game or something, and or right now it's football, right? So everybody's at football games, or maybe you're at some sort of, you know, party or a cocktail party or something, and someone is just really unruly. They're really upsetting the environment and the atmosphere. You're on an airplane and you're traveling, and the person is being unruly. They're drinking too much. They're putting the seat back. They're not da-da-da. Use the authority figures who are present to get that person in line. I was a flight attendant for Continental Airlines for 10 years. And one of the things that we would do as flight attendants is we would do our final checks. We would go up and down the aisle and we would check to make sure that seat belts were buckled and tray tables were up and seat backs were forward. And so we'd go through and we'd look and we'd look and we'd look and look. And for those of you who are traveling right now during the holiday season, I want you to look and see the flight attendants, how quickly we're just going from side to side. Well, we're not just looking for those things to be compliant. We're also looking for those individuals who are our advocate. There's somebody who's going to do this. They're going to shift those eyes to the person in front of them or do their eyebrows up or what have you to let us know, hey, that person is not being compliant. So we're also looking for body language for those folks who are going to help us. So with that being said, in that instance, you want to use the authority figure. Those folks are using the authority figure. They were using us as the flight attendant to tell the rude person next to them to take their, you know, what at that time when I was flying, we couldn't have the earbuds in, or to put their seat forward, or to put their tray table up. They were using the authority figure to do this. And this is what we can do as well. Look around your environment and see, who can I tell that this person is really not lining up with what they're disturbing my peace, but I can't control crazy. Let me go ahead and get somebody who can control them to ask them to do that. And so do what those folks are doing who are sitting on the plane, letting us know that somebody didn't have their seat back up.
Okay, so I have a follow-up to that. So look for the authority person that could, you know, step in. What if just by reflex, because this is me, like, can you please, like, if you ask nicely, could you lower your voice, please? Or could you, you know, asking them to stop that disturbing behavior nicely, and they become a bit more unruly or just do react in a way that is definitely shows you, you know, they actually feed off of that and they're just jerks. So what is your response to that? Because sometimes we can do it first but I feel like sometimes that's like a second
Yeah.
step, and really
Oh,
depends
there's
on the
nothing wrong with
personality
doing it first.
style
If
too.
somebody's disturbing your peace, you have every right to say, you know what, can you lower your voice a little bit, because my family and I are you know, having dinner over here, or can you ask your child to stop kicking my seat, or whatever it is. So absolutely, it is perfectly fine for you to address a person and ask them to do, you know, to comply with whatever your request is. Nothing wrong with that at all. I encourage folks to do so. If you observe that the person has already told 6 other people no and mind their business, go straight to the authority figure. Don't even put your 2 cents in it. If the person is so out of control that you asking them is going to elevate or heighten their disrespect, then I'd say avoid doing so. But if there's an opportunity for you to address a person individually, my recommendation is to definitely do so first, and then use that authority figure as a follow-up if they're not compliant and they really are disturbing your peace.
We like to keep our peace, right? Our lives, our peace.
Absolutely.
Peace in our lives,
absolutely.
right? Very important. So there was another point I wanted to talk about. Speaking about peace, we've addressed how to tell people, no, I don't want to talk about that. You know, your snide remark, not going to get to me today. We're going to move on. How to address folks in a social environment, people that you don't know. How about how to get your way in a way that's not so?
Yes. Okay.
Give it to me now.
My tip that I talk about in order to get your way is, one thing you can do is use your radio voice. And yes, that radio voice. So there's a difference between asking a person something where you go in and you're barreling, you're saying, listen, you know, I bought this thing, I need to return it. I don't have my receipt, blah, blah, blah. And you go in and you say, good afternoon. How are you today? And your tone of voice can kind of soothe the person into getting what you want. So my recommendation is to use your radio voice, use your tone of voice to warm up that situation, warm up that person, and get them to give you exactly what you want. So that radio voice can be very helpful. Yes.
I love that, because it does bring people in.
Lower tone of voice, more octave, adding more warmth to your voice can really be helpful in a particular situation. Yes.
Yeah, I love that one. Is there anything, let me just check. Good stuff, Elaine, elevation the brand. We aren't required to be uncomfortable. That's absolutely right. When we have some Gaga people joining us, I see the Swan School of Doddridge.
Oh, yes. So the Swan School of Doddridge. So we, as I mentioned, for the Swan School Protocol, we have licensees, we have individuals who independently own and operate their Swan schools. And so we have over 30 locations throughout the United States and also 2 in Africa. So Doddridge, which is Nikita. Hello, Nikita. Glad you're here. Yeah. So glad they're joining. You know, so that's one of the things we can do, is to use our radio voice in order to get what we want. And the other thing, Keasha, is to just ask. There is a proverb that says that we have not because we ask not. And people have a tendency to try to kind of beat around the bush and skirt the issue without being very direct. There are some instances where it's important for us to ask for exactly what we want. Figure out what that thing is. Sift through all of the debris of okay, should I do this? Should I do that? What should I ask for? And just ask. If you want someone to give you a discount on something, and I'm not talking about service-based pros, because we set our prices and that's our prices, but maybe you want them to give you a discount because the item is great, but it's flawed, you know, so you're in a store. Just ask. Don't go and say, well, you know, I noticed that it has this little scratch right here. And I noticed it has a scratch right here. Does your store have a policy to give a discount for items if items are purchased that have flaws? Ask for that. instead of just waiting for the person to fill in the blanks. If you want something, ask, and use your radio voice when you do so.
Yes, I mean, that is such ask and it is given most times. Or if not, then there's another option. But that, I love that. Just
I think so. And people appreciate that. I think people appreciate your directness. They appreciate honesty. Then you know, you're not trying to pull something over on them, right? You're just really being honest and saying, hey, I noticed that this is this way, but let me just ask and see. And so you notice I said not service industry pros, because, you know, we set our prices. That's different, right? It's different than I think it's different. In my opinion, it is than a tangible item. That's a whole other topic that we can go into with those of us who provide services, and, you know, folks come over and they're like, can we not, you know, it's like, this is what I do for a living. It's not a hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole other thing.
You can come on for a part 2 of Conversations with Keasha. I would love that.
Yes, indeed.
For sure. Wow. Okay. So is there anything else that you would love to impart on us? Whether it's about something we touched on earlier, with it being the season, 'tis the season.
Yeah, there's, you know, one thing that I would like to share is, I mentioned my book, Let Crazy Be Crazy. In the book, I talk about how to deal with difficult people and challenging situations. But one of the things that I see oftentimes is, you know, people post a lot of stuff on internet and on social, and they talk about how everybody else is giving them a hard time. I want people to really walk away from this and ask yourself kind of a few different things. Number one, when you're dealing with a difficult situation or person, you want to ask yourself, is it crazy? Is it rude? Or is it you? Right? Crazy is that person that, and you know, it's a joke type word, right? You're not going to be able to do nothing with them. That's just how they are. You can't fix them. They have to fix themselves. They need to do their own work. They need to do their own, you know, cleaning up of themselves, right? That's the person that you can't. Some people are just rude. And that could be fixable, right? That's the person that you say, you know what? No, I'm not going to, that's not something I want to do. And they say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Or, you know, that question was really offensive. And they say, oh gosh, I didn't realize that. They're just rude, right? Sometimes it's you. Sometimes you're the issue, and maybe you're overthinking, or you're deflecting, or you are overly sensitive. So do a little bit of inventory before you label somebody else as crazy or rude. Ask yourself, is it crazy, is it rude, or is it just you? Is it me? Am I the person that's really hard on others, or I'm very rigid? So I encourage people to do a little self-reflection. We spend a lot of time on social media talking about how everybody else, and I need to protect my peace, and you toxic and all that stuff. You might be the issue. So ask yourself.
Exactly. Like, yes, I actually a few weeks ago thought about this. Like, you see all these memes and you're like, that's right, that's them. And it's like, but at the same time, that person could literally say the same thing about you know, or us. So it's so funny. Great advice. Are they crazy? Are they rude? Or is it me? Am I being overly sensitive? Am I projecting? Am I deflecting? Very good. And Susan says, identify your own.
Oh my goodness. Yes, Susan.
Yeah,
I agree. We have our own, and we're not perfect. We're all a work in progress. And although we may be able to identify some things that are unhealthy for our own, you know, selves and everything, there's still some inventory we can do on our own to determine our role in the challenge, or in the friction, or in the issue.
Right. Yeah. We always do have a role in that, whatever that, you know, it's always, you know, us in that. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Elaine, for coming on and sharing some wonderful tips for how to handle difficult people and situations, problematic, awkward.
It's my pleasure. And thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This was fun.
Oh, absolutely. So how can folks
Okay.
find you, follow you?
Certainly, yeah, definitely. Find me here on Instagram, Elaine Swan. I'm Elaine Swan on every platform. So definitely connect with me there. And of course, I have a website, elaineswan.com. And you can learn more about the wonderful work we're doing at the Swan School of Protocol too, which is swanschool.com. And yeah, hit me up. I'm happy. I love questions. I love helping people with their challenging moments and everything. So if you have a question that you didn't get to post today, please do contact me personally. I will not reveal who you are, and I'll just answer your question.
Awesome. And thank you to everybody who joined us live today. I take great pleasure in having these conversations. You are, episode number 18. So I've done this 18 times now, and it's so enriching. I feel like for all parties involved, there's always something deeper, something more like, oh yeah. And my goal is always, if one person can walk away saying, I never thought of it like that before.
I think you did it today,
honey. I've done my service. So I'll see you all next time.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.